Hello, I'm Mike. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 different methods of rooting a cutting. This is more for a sort of, I suppose, evidence for a future video. I essentially am going to be trying 3 different methods of rooting semi-ripe cuttings, and this is the first part, and then sort of 6 months time I'll be showing you the second part when all these cuttings are rooted, and I'll be comparing the results of each to actually see which works better. So here I have some honey, and then I have some organic rooting powder, and then I'll also be using nothing. So I have 3 pots, 2-litre pots, about 8 cuttings of each, all the same size, prepared exactly the same, and I'll basically be comparing how the 3 different methods actually turn out. I haven't seen loads of people do this, so I just thought I'd give it a go myself, as this is something that I genuinely want to know the results of. As I say, one's better than the other that I've done, but I've never formally tried them all exactly the same in, I say controlled, it's not really controlled, but in an equal environment, if you will. So the first one I'll be doing is honey. So I'll just do like a couple of each, just purely so you can see I've done this, so that I'm not lying in the results in whenever they've rooted. So I haven't done this very much, so I'm literally just going to cover the cutting like this with some honey. Base of the cutting, this might be a bit too much, I'll just wipe a little bit off. Don't think you need very much for it to work, so there you go, it's just covering the cutting like this. And now honey is actually supposed to be a very good one to use, because it's got glucose, which is what the plant would usually produce during photosynthesis. So it's, again, saving that water, which I mentioned in my previous video. It's saving the water that's already in the plant so that it doesn't kill itself by trying to carry on growing. But it's also antibacterial, so any open wounds, this could actually be a very good way of stopping those from rotting. So I'll just place them in. So I'm just making a hole with my finger, pushing the soil around it. This way it doesn't wash off any of the honey, so it's all controlled in a way, all equal, so everything has the same sort of chance. This is probably a little bit too sort of hard honey for what I'd usually want to use, but it was all I had to hand, so I'm just trying. So I'm going to put about 8 to 10 cuttings in each pot. I think I've got roughly 8 for each, but it doesn't matter if I have a few more. It's really just the results of the individual plants and the average that I'll be getting from this that I am interested in. So you get the idea, just literally covering it in honey, wiping off the majority, so it's just covering the outside, because too much is just wasteful. I will finish these off camera so as not to bore you. Then on to the rooting powder cuttings. So again, they're all the same size from all the pots, roughly. Yeah, he's not exact, but they're roughly the same size. I haven't measured them or anything, just done it to eye. So with a rooting powder, mix it around a bit, kind of like I did with the honey really, but then just tapping it off. You can see you really do not need much rooting powder, but the trouble with rooting powder now is that we're not allowed to have the same chemicals that would have been in it once, as they can be actually very bad for the environment and very harmful. So it's a good thing they no longer contain them. But by doing this, they're then less effective at actually making the plant root, which is why I'm trying this, just to compare the differences between honey, rooting powder, and nothing at all. The differences may be so minute that it's not worth doing it, or we may find that the ones without anything rot off or just take longer. So this is purely for really evidence that I've done this, so that you can see that I haven't faked any results. Not that I'm really biased for anything, I don't really use anything specific, I just use whatever I would normally have to hand. I have rooted Griselinia with and without, and because I've never done them at the same time, it's difficult for me to say exactly which one was better. So I can't say exactly that this is any different. But I will say, from what I have done, I rarely notice much difference in the production. Obviously for these, I don't even need to make a hole, literally just placing them in. So all of the 3 pots have multi-purpose, just a cheap standard multi-purpose compost and perlite. About 3 parts compost, 1 part perlite. just for the good drainage and holding the moisture. I'll just fill this whole one up while I continue talking. So basically all of these cuttings are similar sort of size, they're all semi-ripe, and in theory anyway they should all develop at a much similar rate, I hope. And the idea of this is in 6 months time, once these have all rooted, I'll be able to take them out of their pots and actually see which one's done better. Perhaps the ones with honey don't have so many roots, or perhaps they've got more growth, or perhaps the ones with the rooting powder are no different to this. We don't know. This is just purely a test, and feel free to try this as well, so you can sort of compare the results to what I get and see if it's any different, because this is only really going to apply to my particular climate. For example, if we have a particularly hard winter, that could affect the results, because I keep all of my Griselinia cuttings outside. I find they root slightly better in the cold. So it will be interesting to see if anybody else does this. Let me know, see if you get similar results once we actually get the results. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm just planting cuttings, nothing too clever, and hopefully we'll get some results, like I say, in about 6 months time, sort of late spring, early spring, we should know roughly what's happening, what's actually the results of these cuttings. So thank you very much for watching, and as soon as there's a part 2, if I remember, message to my future self, remember to link the results video to this one in the comments or in the description or something. Which reminds me, do please subscribe if you're enjoying these videos. I've been doing very varied content lately. I'm going to try to do some more gardening content to balance out the farming content for those of who enjoy whichever. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.